My name is Alphonse Knight. I'm from Boston, part of Core Power Metro East, member of the board, Core Power, along with Matt. And about a year and a half ago, they started an energy efficiency crew, and it's doing very well. In the beginning, there were little struggles, like any other business where you just get going, and as we went along, we found little weaknesses where we needed. You got the crew, but then you need support for the crew, like people who work in the office, people who return call. It ended up that a lot of people, one individual in the crew, the leader, end up doing a lot of the paperwork, and whereas instead of focusing on the crew itself. So little things like that. And about mid last year, they got another individual to run the office, and that started helping to stabilize, the little misfits here and there. And now we got about 3 other individuals. The last person is what we just hired. What's his name?
The community organizer.
Community organizer. So as we put those people in place, the business is there. I mean, Boston and it's, and it's surrounding, it's a lot, and we don't find, as we go out and we talk a little bit about energy efficiency, we find for the Boston area, there's not a lot of people into it, and we find that education is the #1 thing. So as we go out and we share the word, and as we share with them, how much they can, on an average, and what they'll be able to save in a year if they insulate the walls of the houses, insulate the ceiling, the whole 9 yards. People get excited because, especially for Boston, there are a lot of older houses, and they can save anywhere between 25 to 40% that per year on their heating bill. So that's a lot of money, and people get excited. So, Sergey, what's his position again?
The auditor.
Auditor. We gotta have an auditor now. That he goes out and we work with, of course, with Mass Save, and he go and do all the evaluation of the project, and let the the homeowner knows what's the cost and all of that. So the little bits and pieces is coming together. We have, because of all the potential business that we have now, we are on the verge of starting a second efficiency crew. And so that's exciting. The business is there. Like I said, it's just putting those little pieces together.
How long did it take you to get to be profitable?
About a year.
Just a year?
Yeah.
That's fast.
To be honest, and it was a learning curve. And I'm sure Tim probably could share some information with you about their end of it. We know sometimes when you start with something like that, that key element of you got a working crew who's out in the field, and the office crew, individual return phone calls, do all the paperwork, they kind of work hand in hand. And if one is logging, would have problem, especially on that time, like something phone calls never get answered, and all of that. So we think because that's one of the things that Lynn came up with, say, hey, we have to get this little executive team together in order to start the second crew, because we need to be able to support them. And because, like I said, the potential business is there, but if no one there to answer phone calls and do all paperwork, then we will have problems.
Is that what the community organizer does, is to teach people about the opportunity, and then you get a number of people excited, but you don't have enough support or teams to go there, so you get all this community interest.
It's the whole package.
Yeah, the cost of getting the business and delivering to the business, there are a lot of coordination factors. There are many steps because of the level of participation of a number of different stakeholders in the process. We have to collaborate with the utilities, with the state, with the lead vendors, and every step has levels of coordination for accountability, and it's tricky to coordinate.
building owners and everything.
And of course, the owners, you have to schedule with owners in mind as well.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just curious. Are you mostly working with homeowners living in their properties, or do you ever do rental properties? And if so, are there particular issues around that? Convincing landlords to do the energy efficiency upgrades?
Oh, we work with everybody, both
Everybody.
homeowners and
The single greatest opportunity we have before us, and the most challenging, is to reach rental markets, because landlords for any number of reasons are hesitant to invest in upgrading their buildings where they're passing the costs of energy on to their tenants. And that is something that we're all working together to try to figure out. And my personal belief is it goes back to that stone in the pot. You know, you have to start with the education of the tenants at the bottom and give them the tools and the ability to organize, to know that they're paying into the program to get the home energy assessments to begin with, so that we can go back to the landlords and make a case for, look, you know, would you rather have your tenant paying, you know, energy costs or paying their rent on time?
Right.
You know, that's the.
And doesn't it make their properties more rentable, or is that not an issue in Boston?
I don't know about Boston, and I don't know that that's something that landlords are dealing with. I don't, for the most part.
I think for the landlord who cares, you know, they will look into it, because it's also increase the value of their property.
Yeah.
Correct.
When you go to buy a house and they say, oh, this is fully insulated, the whole 9 yards, to, oh, there's not even 1 inch in there, that's a difference in price there.
Yeah.
And it's, especially landlord who lives there, because like most what we do is like single to 3 family home.
Mm.
We don't deal with the commercial end of it yet. And yeah, a tenant can say, hey, I would like my apartment insulated, but then he or she have to get approval from the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
But we find that most of the landlord, especially if he lives there, get very interested, you know.
So how many members are there of the LOC in Boston?
I don't know. We have actively, well, probably about 5 right now that we can call on any time, and meetings and stuff like that. But I think we got like 9 people. Some not too active, busy, but not doing other things.
There are probably 4 or 5 member lenders that have contributed to the energy efficiency business out there, the business development.
Yeah.
And
So
one thing I think that's really important about Co-op Power is that it builds on the 400 member base to build all these businesses and community-owned businesses. It's not just about another business that will compete in the market, in the same kind of market. It's about thinking about a new kind of economy where there's community wealth built. And so with Co-op Power, not only just a crew in Boston, but 2 crews in Western Mass, helping a crew in Holyoke start, community solar in Vermont, being involved in the community solar garden in Harvard. So like there's mobilizing the resources of so many people, and being able to focus it with a justice lens, right? And saying these communities have been left out of the economy in the past, and now we can focus some resources here and bring in social justice
And jobs.
and create jobs.
Green.
And businesses, which builds stakeholding in civic development as well.